You always want to work your bait with your rod tip down. In fact, with a fly rod, you don't work your bait with the tip of the rod like you do with a casting or a spinning rod. You work it with your hand. So you point the rod at the bait, rod tip down, and you strip it. Pull it under one index finger that you're holding the rod with and strip it with the other, and that's how you give the bait action. Once again, strip it hands down, loop that line under your index finger, and pull with your hands while keeping that rod tip pointed right at the bait. There he is, swimming out to deep water. And when you fight him, you do the same thing. Keep it under your index finger. Oh, good jump. Well, this is your Southwest Outdoors report, talking about fly fishing today. It's a lot of fun, and you can catch a lot of different species. Got a 9-foot, 5-weight fly rod, which is perfect for the bass fishing. Got just enough backbone. There we go, kind of a skinny summertime looking fish. All right, it's gonna take me a little bit to get the bait out of this one's jaw right here. Good bass right here. You can do this at your local lake as well. It's a blast, a lot of fun. Right now, here's Brian Hughes, state of Texas, with your freshwater fishing reports, followed by Bill Olson on the coast.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Snag Proof. Now before we continue with hot summer bass lakes, we've got to mention Lake Allen Henry. It's been closed due to an oil spill. No, not the Gulf oil spill. A 4-inch pipeline in the Double Mountain Fork of the Brazos River has broken. Now it hasn't reached the lake yet, but officials have closed the lake so they can monitor water quality and keep this under wraps. We'll let you know as more news is available. Now, beating the summertime heat for bass fishing, the best way is night fishing, and you only need 4 baits. You'll want a buzz bait, a spinner bait, a crankbait, and a Texas rig. Now, for the buzz bait, all black, my favorite color. For the spinner bait, black with some blue, purple, or red strands, and either gold or black Colorado blades. The crankbait, a small, diving, black crankbait is my favorite. And finally, on the Texas rig, a 10-inch worm in red shad, black blue, June bug, or blue fleck. Now, the best lakes for night fishing in Texas, or at least my favorites, are Athens. We also have LBJ and, of course, Cedar Creek. That's for the boat docks. Also, Texoma, Canyon, and Whitney for the rocks and ledges. Just let your bait fall about 5 to 10 feet down, move it slow, and wait for that big nighttime bass. That's it for this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Snag Proof Lures. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island. With its Gulf beaches, great coastal fishing, Arnold Palmer golf courses, fresh seafood, and nighttime hotspots, Port A is truly Texas Island style. For more information, visit the website on the screen. Well, patterns are pretty well set for the balance of summer. Hot weather has pushed speckled trout to deeper, cooler water. On the upper coast, Sabine, Galveston, Trinity, and even Matagorda Bays, the most reliable patterns are birds working over bait, anglers drifting deeper mid-bay reefs, as well as slicks. Anglers are also scoring around wells and abandoned well shell pads. Carolina or drop shot rigs with live shrimp are all good options. On the middle coast and upper lower coast, from Port O'Connor southward to the land cut, redfish are schooling on shallow flats, with trout around sand pockets on grass flats and in the intercoastal and areas that drain those flats. Just off the beachfront out of Port Aransas, anglers have hooked up with kingfish on their trout rods. Use a wire or titanium leader to prevent getting cut off. On the lower Laguna Madre, Mexiquita Flats is beginning to heat up, while the deeper water off Longbar continues to produce. South Bay is giving up specks and mangrove snapper off of live shrimp fished under a popping cork. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
There's one. Ooh, that could be a little better fish. They do put up a ruckus on a fly rod. All right, there's one more for you. Oh, skinny. They get that way in the summertime. That's a summertime bass. Hey, I want to mention before we go to the next break, a couple of ways you can catch them on a fly rod. One is with an assortment of baits that basically stay on top of the water. I've got a few scattered out here, but they're floating plastic baits or little popper bugs. The other way you can catch them is how I caught this fish. You can catch them on a sinking bait. And as you can see, you put a couple of little tiny split shot weights on there, and these are weights that are actually made for fly fishing. A lot of folks think you've got to fish a fly rod or a bait on a fly rod on top of the water, but that one was actually down about 6 or 8 feet below the surface. So you got to figure out where the bass are, put your bait right where they are. One more time. Oh yeah.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by Nitro Performance Bass Boats. Fish your best in a Nitro. By Stren, the standard of dependability. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And by Motor Guide, never stop. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for our Ask the Proud feature, brought to you by Stren, the standard of dependability. Our question this week is from George in Texas, who writes, "It seems when I tie my jig directly to braid, I get fewer bites. Can fish see braided line?" Let's get the answer from professional angler Jeff Creed of Oklahoma.
You know, as far as braided line goes, I use it pretty much I don't use it much. I use it on top waters when I'm making really, really long throws, like with a spook. I always use it on a frog, and I'll use it to flip heavy vegetation. Other than that, you know, I prefer to go with a heavy fluorocarbon. I'll throw 20 or 25 pound test fluorocarbon. As far as tying the leader, like you're saying to do, you know, a lot of people do that. It works really good. Just make sure you tie a really good knot. But I only like braid in certain situations. I'll go with a heavy fluorocarbon most of the time.
Thank you, Jeff. If you have a question for one of the pros, just visit our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. Click on the Stren Ask the Pro link and send us your information. Now let's get you back to Barry for our Whataburger Big Catch of the Week.
All right, what have I got? Hey, I want to mention today that I'm fishing out of my Bass Tracker bass boat here. Big news this year from the Tracker and Nitro boat companies. They have dramatically reduced the prices of both lines, both aluminum and fiberglass. You can see the entire lineup online at the websites you see on your screen. They have not cut the quality of any of these boats at all. Check it out at your local dealer or, again, at one of the websites you see online. Look at the size of that big old brim. Man, I can lip that dude. He is absolutely huge. That's another advantage of fly fishing. Hey, it's time right now for our Big Catch of the Week, this week's photo, and it was sent in by Leon Franks Jr. of Dale, Texas. A shout out to our South Texas folks, because this is an 11-pound, 3-ounce largemouth bass caught out of Choke Canyon Reservoir down near Three Rivers, Texas. If you'd like to enter your Big Fish in Our contest, you'll need to go to our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. Sign up to become a member. It's free. You'll get access to all the members-only areas of our website, including my weekly blog and much more. Go right to the website, send us your big fish photo. All right, we'll let this big brim go back. What a specimen. See you, buddy. And away he swims. And if you've never experienced fly fishing, I promise you, it's not only fun, it's very challenging, gives you a good sense of pride to be able to work that fly rod, manipulate it into position to get a fish to bite it, and to land one can be very tricky on a fly rod as well. You want to give it a try at your local lake. Go out this weekend and experience fly fishing around our 4-state region. The fishing is really good right now. Hey, be sure to join us next week at our usual time slot, Thursday night at 10:30. Unless the Texas Ranger baseball game runs long, we'll be on right after the Texas Rangers post-game show, and Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in our usual time slot. We'll see you then. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Go fly fishing, y'all.